Okay,
I was
cool.
anxious to get back on.
You lot are quick. Okay, so yeah, so gospel, yeah. So gospel. So I've done work in the mainstream industry, so I know how different it could be. I would say most definitely that gospel music, having been in the Caribbean and being in the UK, it's very relational. Being able to navigate gospel music is very relational. I don't know if it's the same in Africa. It's about who you know, who you formed relationships with to be able to get to the next step to do things a lot of the time. Now, it's not to say that you can't push through and do your own stuff, but you have to show yourself friendly effectively to get to the various stages. And you have to be very proactive about promoting yourself, which is a problem I find that a lot of artists have in the gospel arena, because there's this whole thing about your doctrine and being humble and the rest of it. But you have to promote your music. If you want your message to travel, you have to promote the message. And if you really believe that you're doing God's work and therefore your message is God's work, then why wouldn't you push it? But you just have to find a way to do that in a very tactful way, or a way that is acceptable to your cultural environment. Wonder if that's helped thing, because yeah, Jamaica is a tough market as well. I know that it is a tough market to crack, but you'll have your niche audience base. Very much here in the UK, the Jamaican gospel market is a really niche, in that it's a small community of people. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows when somebody's rising to the top effectively, and they support each other. There is that culture that we support each other. So we book each other on each other's shows. We work with the same producers, so they work with the same producers, so they tend to be able to have a system in which they release music and stuff like that. And that really helps. You've got to build a community around yourself, and maybe you're the person to do that, Angela, to foster everybody into this concept of building a community, because without that, it's very difficult to move around, to navigate where you are.
And that is so true, Audrey. Last night I was fortunate to see an interview on TV with Shaggy, and he was saying that in terms of Jamaica music, that he was going back to the old days of Bob Marley and Dennis Brown and Gregory Isaac, where they all work together as a team.
Exactly. That's the model that works for reggae, most definitely.
For sure.
It is a one love thing.
Yes.
Right, to coin that phrase, that's how you have to flex effectively to make it work. And it's the same that crosses over when you're doing gospel reggae. They move with that. They have that ability. Maybe they're not doing it, but they have that ability to live that same one love way among themselves.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's how everything filters down.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Questions?
Okay, guys, any more questions? Any more questions?
I find, Audrey, and that in terms of a point that you touched on, that for us that we do so well internationally as a gospel group, in terms of those small pockets of Jamaicans living abroad.
Right.
And so we do well in the US and other island markets. And that's probably because we started outside of Jamaica.
Right.
But, okay. So and our music is what's the word? Not strictly reggae. But a fusion. And so we are now looking at other markets, and especially even Africa. And I find, though, it might be same for other people in their own market. It was easier to get into the White House than to get into certain stages in Jamaica.
Wow. You said a lot there. You said a lot.
And Audrey?
Yeah.
That is a 100% true statement.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think but you're right. if you take your music outside, because there is so much of the Caribbean and African market that's dispersed across the world, they're looking to engage with them, to bring them back to their roots. So they will embrace you more. Whereas back home, you're effectively a novelty.
Yes.
You can become a novelty. But to them, it's like, this is something that's going to bring me back to my home. And remember that a lot of our Caribbean and African sisters, they can't go back home, or they've not been home in years. So if you're bringing the sound to them and you're engaging with them like that, of course, they will love you. They will love you, most definitely. And if you're writing songs, if you think about your writing as well, you're writing songs that are giving them those pictures of, you know, what it's like to be at home, or you're connecting with them on that level that, you know, that they matter, that, you know, you're speaking those kinds of languages to them in your songs, then yeah, it's a great way of sort of engaging with them and building a fan base instantly. The trick is to make sure you can find them again and again and again. So collecting email addresses, making sure that people know you, where your website is, building campaigns that drive people to you know, to your social medias, etc., so that when you do announce, look, we're coming to Japan, or we're coming to London, or we're coming wherever, you can almost guarantee that they're going to show up. Yeah.
Where do you see gospel, the gospel music in terms of trending? Like, you know, I want to be clear. With all the fusion that's happening in reggae and dancehall, where do you see, like in Jamaica, I can see it trending away from the traditional, you're familiar with, well, you lived in Trinidad, but we have some songs that are like, you know, more African, from our African heritage.
More Afrobeat related.
More folk than an Afrobeat.
Right.
And so if you do gospel music in Jamaica, you'll find like the artists who do more folk kind of singing will be on the main stage. Because for us, because we do kind of rap, reggae, African fusion, we tend as a gospel artist to be on most secular shows.
But that's a great place to be. How do you mean?
It's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place to be, because we shouldn't be just singing to the saved. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be just about that. So that's a great place to be. That's a position where God's going to know what you're doing. You've got to, you know, so that's great to hear that you're doing that. And again, if you're looking towards Europe, I would sort of urge you to look towards Europe. And when I say Europe, I'm not talking the UK, I'm talking the Europe that Brexit, that Boris took us out of, that Europe.
Yes.
They love gospel music. When I say they love it. And I'm talking about, they don't care if you're a Christian, they're a Christian, they don't care. They love the sound of gospel music and the community that's around the sound of gospel music.
What is that sound to you?
Ooh, it's very much, I mean, if I'm looking at the community in Europe, it's very much traditional gospel sounds. So more of the folk would work, most definitely, because it's indigenous and that's what they want. They want something that sounds authentic. Nobody wants a copycat. Like I'm always saying, you know, like UK artists, like UK rappers. Why are you emulating an American rapper? Don't you know they grow them in America? How will you break into America by copying an American rapper? You sound like karaoke. So it's just be cute to them. That's why you won't get booked there. If you keep an element of your authenticity in what you do, yes, it's a genre that has that sort of twang to it effectively. But if you keep a level of authenticity in what you do, that's going to excite them more, because you're bringing them something different. But if you're bringing them exactly what they do, they can do it 10 times better than you, because that's where it's from. Do you know what I mean? So the same thing with Europe. Keep that folk element and go the big festivals that are in Europe. Like I said, they don't care that you're Christian or that you're singing about Jesus. They don't care. They love the sound of what you're bringing and the presentation that goes with it. A lot of our artists need to learn how to perform. And again, get over the hang up of, but that's not godly. But because my question is, the artists that you love, when you look at them, they're performing. There's an element of performance in what they do. So you shouldn't be shying away from it. It's about art and your art form. And a lot of people don't get that. They don't get that your music can be an art. It's a whole package. It's a whole package. Oh, someone's got their hand up. Sorry. Sorry, waffling.
Hi, Audrey.
Hiya.
My name is Sam from Ghana, and I just want to make a contribution. I think that when it comes to the gospel music, we don't need to forget the fact that it has to do with grace in the first place. So they can be that one that doing everything that has to do with marketing strategy and everything, but if the grace isn't there, it's still not just going to work. And in this part of Africa where I find myself, like Ghana, for instance, unlike the Nigerians who are able to communicate their songs very well, you know, Nigerian gospel artists are able to communicate their songs very well in their language, and you know, anyhow, it's but even with the secular artists,
right?
It's out there. You see the Burna Boys, and you see they're able to communicate very well in their language. But it's not the same with Ghanaians. I'm yet to see a Ghanaian.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
There with, yeah, I'm yet to see that.
Okay,
so
but
that's interesting. For people like us and this.
What I would say to that, though,
so it makes it very difficult for people like
for Ghanaian artists to go into a commercial realm. You mean?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Yeah. So I would say to that, though, that's what you made the statement about Burna Boy. If you watch what Burna Boy did, Burna Boy found that point. So he went with his traditional self, and then he realized, okay, just slightly commercialize it and see what happens. And that's what he did. He tilted it to this commercial vein, and then he stayed in that lane. You have to be intentional. If you're from Ghana and you want to enter the commercial realm like that, or you want to increase, increase your viability, increase your popularity, if you like, you have to be intentional about how you write and how you perform and how you present your music. That's what it is. And once you find that happy medium,
it's very difficult.
But it's
what I'm saying is
the mindset, and that's what makes it difficult. Because that means now you've got to sit down and study what is making those other artists popular. And who are they working with? What sound are they delivering? What lyrics are they delivering? How can I do that in a gospel format? What audiences are they attracting? You have to look at all those things, and then you have to go and pen songs according to that. That's a whole study. And I don't think we don't think that far, because we just think pray and a song will come. But God is intentional. He's intentional. You know what I mean? Just like Angela, intentionally she's intentionally getting mainstream gigs. That's intentional. And if it keeps happening, then you know you're in that right groove. But you have to purpose for that to happen. You've got to work. You have to study to show yourself approved. Isn't that what the Bible says? That's in everything. That's in being a parent, in being an artist, in being a minister. It's in everything. Yeah. Is that Keisha? Okay, Miss Gardner says, for new artist managers, are you an artist manager? Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, we have to connect then. Yeah, that's good. What the free things that you need?
Hi, Audrey. It's Keisha.
Okay, good. Yeah, we have to connect. Yeah, we have to connect.
I'm from Trinidad, so I would have been working with my best friend who started off as an artist 5 years ago. But I was just, helping her because I was always involved in business.
Right.
And last year, October, we started working with a producer, and he started to see the development from her and asked me to work with him as an artist. But, I feel very new in this area. So I'm asking, what are some key things that I need to know about the industry and continue to help my artists grow within their career?
Who's your artist?
I work with Nataki Lendor.
Okay, yeah, I know her.
Yeah, Nataki
okay, cool.
Lendor, as well as Ruel Lynch from Dear Panted Productions.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. Joel, you're done now already. Yeah, Royal's excellent. So already
Yeah.
you're on a good track. So you've got a really good producer. He's a really great songwriter as well.
Yes,
he's a very good all-rounder, full stop. I think marketing, like I said, marketing is the key thing. So strategizing where you want the project to go, strategizing what you want it to look like. It's everything. What it want it to smell like. What do you know what I mean? When it's delivered, how should it be? Even before you start recording. So work backwards, right? So look at what you want it to actually look like, sound like, what markets you want to target, what would be the strategy behind launching the product and the rest of it, even sort of develop draft artwork for it, etc., and then start writing the project.
Okay.
So that you've got something that is firm from start to finish. You're working towards a goal because you've already established where it needs to go. It's like it's a project management. Yeah, you're in business. It's a project management thing. So you're just working backwards, and you use project management tools, because I'm very big on that. Like somebody in this room would tell you, use use Trello, use Asana to task out everything line upon line, precept upon precept, to look at exactly how that would work out, where your deadlines are, where your milestones are. Then it sort of would dictate who you work with going down that pipeline as well. So who's she going to feature with? Is she going to feature? Is there artists that we want to reach out to find out if they can do a collaboration?
Right.
You know, or doing things like that as well. And not just looking at collaborations locally, but internationally. Who can you collaborate with internationally that would help the project to propel when it's released, because somebody else's name is on it? So just being really strategic. I'm gonna send you something, but being really strategic about about from the beginning. Don't go too far into it and then you can't backtrack. That's the worst. For any artist manager, for me, the worst thing is if my artist is an overnight success. That is the worst thing. Now everybody will be saying, but then that's good. It's the worst if you don't have anything else in the pipeline, because once that wave starts, you've got to ride that wave immediately. You've got to be ready. So if you're only producing single after single after single after single, or EP after EP, and with no strategy in between that, of understanding what if, two of the songs blow up huge, what do we do? You've got to have that plan already in place. Yeah,
I get that. Thank you. And what about in terms of like sync licensing? Like, have you worked in that area? Because I know, especially for Royal, that is one of the directions that we are heading into.
So does he have a sync, like, does he have a publisher? I know he's a publisher, probably. He's a publisher, isn't he?
Yeah. So
I used to work at COT.
Yeah, so we use COT right now, but we had a conversation with somebody who's actually from the UK, and they were telling us about PRS. So I'm learning more about that.
Okay,
and
so then
it would be good to have that conversation with you.
All right, good. So I used to work at COT as well. So I was member relations officer there for a while. So that's how I know. I've seen Royal's file. That's really mad that I remember that. But you can get joint membership with PRS or ASCAP if you want to go Atlantic, that side. Right. And definitely I can recommend a publisher here that would, because just remembering his stuff will work really well for sync licensing. And he can, I know he's got time to write that way as well. So he can commission stuff as well. This company is quite good at that. So I can point you in the direction of that company.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, brilliant. It's really nice to meet you.
Same here.
Any more hands up? No? So I'm going to go then, guys. I'm going to go.
Hello.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, I've seen another long question there. Go on, Captain. And I'll have a look at the other question in a minute. Okay.
Hello,
cool.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First and foremost, I really want to apologize for making it late to this particular program. I feel like it's a very wonderful platform for us to actually learn a lot. And I came not long ago, but I think I was hearing one or two things about EPs and and singles releasing and those kind of things. I think that is very, very laudable. But for my sake, I'm thinking if you can probably like um, add certain things to it for me to also get something home because I just came, please.
If I could, sorry, say again.
I'm saying that this platform is actually like a very wonderful platform that
Okay.
up and coming ministers or musicians can actually learn a lot from. So I came not long ago. I just happened to hear about the EP discussion, the EP and the single that is going to release discussion. Yeah, I think it's nice. Me myself, I'm having an EP in the pipeline that I want to release. So I was thinking that as someone like me who is having an EP in the pipeline to release, I don't have any management, it's just me. How do I go about it? Like, what do I have to do so that I can really have a successful EP release?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the other workshops that is coming up, I think she's going to speak quite clearly on that. Is that right? Ron, is that right?
Not at the moment.
Right. Okay. All right. So, because that again, that's a whole workshop. I could do a separate workshop on sort of music marketing and music release plan. I could do a workshop on that. We can schedule something later on and do that. But what I would say at the moment is kind of, if you're already nearing that point, is to look around you to see if you can find other people that can help you with that process, because it can be a bit of a process. Yeah. So you probably will find, just like the manager lady here, she started by helping a friend. And most people who are artist managers, that's what they started doing. You didn't want you to see your friend get overrun, so you started helping your friend, and then by default, you started managing them. So very often there's people around us that can help us with that process. Find somebody who's good at social media and work with them to build a sort of mini campaign to release your music. Look at your local radio stations, etc., and find out how do people submit their music to those radio stations. You speak to Ron. I'm sure getting your music on his platform will be a great thing as well. But find out how they accept music submissions. So some of them, it's just a matter of you email the DJ with the music and a bio and a bit of a story behind the song, and they would put it on a playlist eventually. Or maybe immediately. And some of them, they have an online system that you have to upload your music to if you want to be considered for radio play. So there's a bit of research that you need to do around where does your music fit in terms of which radio stations does it fit with, and then finding out who or how do you send your music to those radio stations. But that for the immediate, that's what we would probably do. And then in terms of social media, working with someone with social media that can help you roll out or build some excitement about the release of your EP.
Please come again.
Find somebody that works in social media that can help you, with the release of your EP, so they can build some sort of excitement around the release of your EP.
Like I understand you perfectly. Like what I was trying to say, that with all these things that you are talking about, let's say for instance, I'm having a particular budget that I have to make sure that I go according, because I don't have any management, I don't have any probably like a record label, and all these people that you are recommending that I get them involved. It comes with fee, or it comes with money. So sometimes it becomes a quite challenge. You might have all the gifts, you might have all the talent or whatsoever, but then because of the money or the financial challenge or constraints, you wouldn't be able to put your work out there. So in my case,
the only other alternative you have, and I fully understand that, the only other alternative is to do it yourself. So basically, to sit down and work out, get the artwork for your projects and work out a plan as to how you're going to release your music, right? So when are you going to post it? Do you have to create artwork? There's free things like Canva, for example, that you can go online that help you to develop artwork if you need it done that way. and
Okay.
work out a plan as to how you're going to release. So what you're going to be telling your fan base in advance about your new project. Definitely write your bio over so that it's up to date as to, you know, the story of you and the story behind your lead tracks.
All right. Right now, like I have a little, I wouldn't call it fear, but you know, because I've been releasing some songs over the years. I've been in the music ministry for a minute. I've been releasing some songs over the years, and I feel like probably I wasn't doing it right.
Yeah.
And so when this particular privilege came up and I saw it, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I think it's very, very timely. I have to make sure I get myself involved.
Good.
So right now that I'm having my EP, I just don't want to release it like any other.
I hear you.
Let's say, WhatsApp broadcast and Facebook and those kind of things. I feel like there should be a more proper way for me to do this thing so that at least it will go a long way to also put some kind of income or money in my pocket.
Yeah, I hear that. That's the frustration that most artists sort of really come in contact with. I want to say one other thing though. Sometimes you can't quantify the money you spent on your project as to what you're going to get out of it when you release it, because that again could be very frustrating. So you have to think about, you know, you might, let me just put a number, you might have paid $3,000 to produce your EP. I'm not saying that there's no way that you'll get your $3,000 back, but the assumption, don't think that I'll release this and I'll get it back in sales or I'll get it back in streams. That is a long, slow trickle. So think about other things that you can do to collect, because data is king. Start collecting email addresses from all your fan base. Drive them all to one location. And let them sign up to be part of some sort of club that you've designed or some sort of newsletter that you design, or just to say, if you want to stay up to date on my music, click here. They add their email address, because that could turn out to be how you get your 3,000 back. You can't quantify money for money necessarily. It doesn't work. Money for email addresses. But the thing is, when you're ready to release more music, you can hit them directly and say, you know, I appreciate you being a fan of mine. You can pre-order. So make them feel like, oh, you can get the music before anybody else by pre-ordering here. They will start to buy your music before it's even released. You know, that there's a opening there for you then to build a relationship with them in order for them to want to be part of your journey. And that's really where you want to have your fan base. It's no use, I'm going to write an article about this. There's no use having likes that you can't make them do anything. What's the point? Exactly. So you think about how you look at social media. If I think about how I look at social media, I'll be scrolling Instagram. I'll be liking things just because I like the way the artwork looks, or because of a phrase they use that's familiar with something that happened that day. It doesn't mean I'm a fan of yours. It doesn't mean I'm a fan. It doesn't mean I'll ever come back to your page again. You see what I'm saying? So, but
you're right.
If you have a fan base that you can command, that is where the money is. If you have a fan base that you can say, I'm having an event, inbox me if you want tickets, and you're elongated, that's what you want. You want to know who your true fan base is, not just the likers, if you see what I mean, because that doesn't amount to anything necessarily, especially in Africa, where you have venues, you have events that are in stadiums. We don't have stadium size events for general art, gospel events here, unless it's a big collective of gospel artists. But your regular venues are 3, 4, 5, 6 times bigger than ours. So it's not nothing to get 100 people to like your page from one gig. But that still doesn't say that those same people will come back to you. There was, in the hype of the moment, they liked what they saw. So they liked it or they streamed it. But it doesn't mean that they will come back to you. You need to be able to find a mechanism to keep them in the palm of your hands. Yeah. So, and email addresses is the way to do that.
Okay, that's nice. But please, on this platform, do you have people, like, do you have other personalities who are also probably in as much like I really understand you giving us all this lecture, and I think it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and it will go a long way to actually help us in our ministry. But I'm asking, do we have other people that they also love to work with acts, like they would love to work with some ministers? Because frankly speaking, I'm sure some of my colleagues on the line can testify or bear me out that it's not really easy funding this kind of project. So if there are some people or personalities out there who would love to work with some of us, I think that would be very beautiful.
Yeah, I think, I'll speak to Ron afterwards, because it sounds as if maybe we should do some sort of boot camp, for want of a better term, where we do like work on music release, like stage 1 to 3, and then so that you can actually go through the stages. For week to week, you could go away and do it effectively, almost like a class, in effect, like a master class, but actually give you action points that you go and do. And then you can sort of build that out over time. So if music marketing is where you're at, or music release is where you're at, then we'll do, step 1 to, because I've got a step 1 to 12 plan of releasing music. I can work on the stages from one week to another. And then so it becomes really practical, because it seems like your audience need practical, input. They could really benefit from that, and that would be great. I don't mind doing that. Oops, my phone. Yeah, the step by step. Yeah.
All right. Okay, that would be nice. Please do and with the ministers on the line, I'm sure we have some people that they sing, others dance with so many
Sure.
gift or talent. Let me put it that way. So how do you I'll be very happy if we have to enroll this particular lecturing that you just gave it to us.
Yeah.
It'll start with us. How do we help ourselves? How do we connect? How do we begin to sustain each other in a particular way? And if possible, for instance, let me talk to my people, like me, that I'm singing, I rap and I sing. How will my people on the platform get to know that, okay, they hear this song, say, okay, this song is from Captain Phronesis, then they can know my songs and probably follow? How do we help each other? Like, do we have to send our song to a particular place, or do we have to send a link or something?
Okay, again, let me speak to the boss and sort of figure out how we could do something like that. We can maybe prepare something that goes around to everybody that's in this group, and then to extended groups, to see what people are interested in hearing about, and then sort of do those workshops.
All right then.
Hello, Captain.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can contact me. We can give you some tidbits about how to release your upcoming EP. So you can contact me.
Sure. All right, sir. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Sure. Yeah, so we have.
Please, along the way, if I didn't speak well, please forgive me.
Oh, that's fine, Captain. That's fine, Captain. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have 7 minutes more to end this session. Yeah. So
okay, somebody was asking about vocal train.
Okay.
I think it's what you're asking about, but yeah, definitely vocal training. Yeah, Joel can tell you about that. Vocal training is the one. You need to be able to sing your song and sing it well before you get in studio. You need to have a space where you can go and try and sing your song different ways, etc., before you record, so you get the best possible outcome there. And then in terms of having those songs registered, I think that's partly what you're saying as well. You don't have to wait until the song is released to register your song. You can still register or copyright your song. I'm not sure what the regulations are in where you are at, because you don't have a copyright agency, do you? You don't have a performing rights agency in Ghana, do you? Or do you?
Not really.
I don't know. Yeah.
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Okay.
You say not really, so there's something, but it doesn't work. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It's not something that you can probably trust 100%.
Maybe I need to talk to them. So yeah, but yeah, whatever method you have to register your songs, you should still do it. Still register your song. But yeah, you can always have joint membership with another association. So yeah, like with PRS in the UK, or ASCAP, BMI, and I think there's another body now that started in the States to register your music. but PRS is probably the simplest one and the closest one, like regional to you, is with the UK. Yeah, I would say that.
All right.
Okay, cool. It's been absolutely great.
Yes.
You not really asked me some good questions, so it was really good. And yeah, we have to figure out something that will help the people go a bit further as well with this. So I'm here. I'll catch up with you. I'm sorry for being so slow catching up with you, Ron, but had a lot on. But yeah, but now that I've sort of experienced the type of questions and the type of things that are coming out of here, then it's kind of easier to figure out what will be fruitful for them.
Yeah. So before we sign out, I want you to just make a quick comment on the future of the gospel music. Where do you see the gospel music? Where do you see the gospel music in the next upcoming years? What does it look like?
Okay. For me, I said, as I was saying before, we have to be very intentional about capturing the markets we want to capture, the audiences we want to capture. And we have to be very bold. During COVID, I was pretty upset during COVID because I noticed that a lot of artists weren't releasing music. And to me, that is the most dumbest thing you could have done, because at a time like COVID, people are listening all the time. That's probably when your music would be easier to feature in these avenues, and probably you could sing Jesus, Jesus, Jesus 500 times. They wouldn't care. They would listen to you. They were looking for a song of hope, and it's supposed to come from our community. We're supposed to be bringing hope to their community. So I think we need to think more intentionally and more strategically, that they look at what's going on in the world, intentionally write like that. Purpose to write a hit. Imagine that. Purpose to actually write a hit. Write something that's going to travel the world. That's the sort of thing we should be intentionally doing. It does not take away from your anointing. It does not take away from your purpose with God. And in fact, it adds to it. Why would Jesus give you a gift and then tell you, just release it and see what happens? He doesn't do that, So, just to be very intentional and to claim our music as well, which is a big problem here in the UK. We need to claim our music. When these people are rebranding our music as urban, we need to tell them, no, it's gospel. When you know that chord progression is actually a gospel progression, make them know it's a gospel progression. Or if it's the vocal arrangements, is that otherwise. That's why they keep branding us as urban or fusion or renaming a whole genre, because they want to refuse to call it gospel, when everybody knows that gospel is virtually at the root of all music that we hear popularly outside. So we need to claim it as a people. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting too excited now, so I have to leave.
Yeah, unfortunately, our session is ending in the next 2 minutes. So yeah, so
okay, it's been a joy.
Yeah. So guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I believe we have all taken something to deliberate or ponder about, and also to infuse into whatever business we are engaged in. So we'll come again. Hello. Yeah, so we'll come again sometime soon. So we'll make certain arrangements, and then if any information we get to a consensus, we can
great. That would be great.
Yeah, we can then rearrange and relay any information. Yeah, so thank you guys for making this session a success. We'll see you again. So we actually have our next session is going to happen on the 3rd November. We have Mr. Goziam from the Christian Music Network. He would be available to do a session with us on networking. So we'll share the artworks and everything, and we'll relay